I am getting so many questions about immigration interviews. What should you wear to an interview? How do you succeed at an immigration interview? What questions are they going to ask at your immigration interview? Should you bring this to the immigration interview? Should you bring that to the immigration interview? All of these questions. And today I am going to give you tons of information about how to crush your immigration interview, whether it's an asylum interview or a visa interview or a green card interview, whatever it is. I'm going to break it down for you. And meanwhile, if you have questions about immigration interviews or anything else, just drop them in the comments below and I'll stop what I'm doing and I'll try to answer all your questions. So let's get right to it. The number one question that I get about immigration interviews is, what documents do you need to bring to your interview? What should I bring this document? Should I bring this other document? Should I bring all these documents? My number one rule when it comes to documents at immigration interviews is to bring every single document with you. Bring every document with you to your immigration interview. And why is that? Because when it comes to documents, one of your goals at the immigration interview is to make sure that whatever the immigration officer asks you for, you've got it. You've got it. Because if the immigration officer asks you for a particular document and you say, oh, I left that at home, then you screwed up. You didn't meet your goal. When you leave the immigration interview, whatever they've asked you for, you've got it. And you have to accept that to some degree, there is a little bit of uncertainty about what documents you need to bring. The officer can ask you for any document. And, you know, for example, people often ask, well, do I need to bring my old passports? It doesn't say that on the notice. Well, maybe you should bring your old passport. Look, you've got a choice. Should you bring your old? You can either bring your old passport to the interview, or you can leave your old passport at home. Leaving your documents at home does not serve you well. So my answer to everything is to bring it to the interview. Bring all those documents to your interview. What other questions can we cover? There are a lot. There are a lot, people. The number two tip that I have when it comes to immigration interviews is to get there early. If you're on time, you're late, because it's a very stressful. And if you're racing to get there right at the moment that it starts, you're going to be late. Sometimes at immigration interviews, it takes 45 minutes to get through the security line to get into the building. And so you want to arrive early to allow for those sorts of contingencies. If you're late, you could be denied. If you don't want to get your case denied just because you weren't able to arrive on time. Ricardo, thank you for joining. That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. Let's see. Let's come up with some more questions. So for the immigration interview, Pix is here. Welcome. So for the immigration interview, you want to arrive early. That's the way to go. You also don't want to dress like a slob. You want to dress nicely. Now people say, well, what does that mean, dress nicely? Should I wear a suit? Should I wear a tuxedo? Is this dress fine? Is that just, you want to dress nicely, whatever that means for you. You want to make sure that you show that you're taking this seriously. The correct mindset for an interview is important. You want to make sure that you are doing everything possible to persuade the immigration officer to approve your case. That's your goal. You're there to persuade them to approve your case. You're not there to get in a fight with the immigration officer. You're not there you're not there because you believe that you are entitled to being approved. You're not entitled to being approved. That's not your mentality. That should not be your mentality. The correct mindset is that you're there to persuade them to approve you. You're the voice of reason. Your case deserves to be approved, and now you're there to show it. Um, so that's another thing. Um, Finally, people ask, what questions are they going to ask me at my immigration interview? I already know what questions they're going to ask you at your immigration interview. Is it because I'm psychic? Is it because I have some extraordinary superpower to predict the future? No, not at all. I know what questions they're going to ask you at your immigration interview because 90% of the questions or more come directly from the forms that you use to apply for your case. Let me give you an example. Um, if you are applying for a green card through marriage, in order to apply for a green card through marriage, you got to submit a whole bunch of forms: the I-130, the I-485, the affidavit of support, etc. And in your interview with USCIS, they read you the questions line by line: question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4, etc. What's your name? What's your date of birth? What's your address? What's your social security number? All the biographical informations. And some of the biographical information is fairly substantive. Have you ever been arrested or cited or charged with any sorts of crimes? What is the date of your marriage? All these things should not, it should not be hard for you to review your applications before you came in. If you're applying for asylum, they're going to read your application back to you. We have another person here. Kibre, thank you so much. What's your question, brother? Happy to hear from you. Happy to see my clients on here asking questions, and happy to answer any questions you have. But again, one of the big mistakes, not reviewing your applications before you get to the interview. That's a big one. If your case is based on marriage, then I think you want to know a lot about your spouse. A lot of times they'll ask trick questions. Like they'll say, where does your husband work? And that's an ambiguous question because it can mean what city or location does the person work in, or it could also be what is the name of the company that they work in. And so you have to have all this information known. That's another important tip. Know a lot about your partner. You should remember your anniversary. You should remember what you did on your first date. You should know a lot of information about them. There's nothing you need to memorize, because if you don't know the basic information about your husband or your wife, then you're not going to do well. But if you have done well, then you're going to be fine. Let's go to Kibre's question. It says, hi, Josh, your office worked on my case, which was in administrative processing for 10 months in Nairobi. Thanks to your great team, we filed a mandamus lawsuit and we got issued after a few weeks. Now my question is, I've been in the US for 47 days. After how many days do I get my green card I already paid when I was in Nairobi? Well, your green card should arrive very soon after you got to the US. I want to welcome you here as well. But I think that you should probably get it within 120 days, within four months of when you arrive. If you don't have it within 4 months, I think maybe there's a problem. But rarely do clients complain about this, so I think that you're going to be okay. What's the chance of winning a mandamus lawsuit at the State Department level? Good question. Great question. First of all, I think it's important to define what winning is. A lot of people think that winning means that the judge enters an order compelling the State Department to issue the visa or to process the paperwork within a specific period of time, and that rarely happens. What I think winning a mandamus lawsuit means is that you get the visa, and that you get the visa after a couple of months. That to me is a win. So if we define the win as getting your visa approved after a few months, your chances of winning are quite high. The majority of our cases get resolved within 2 to 6 months. 3 or 4 months is the average. If you expect to get approved within 2 months, that happens occasionally, but it's not the norm. If you expect to be waiting for 6 months or more, that's also not the norm. So I wouldn't worry about that. But I think approval in 3 or 4 months is very likely for most cases that we take on. Now, when I say this, I think it's very important to point out that number one, anytime you hire a lawyer, whether it's me or anyone else, and anytime you file a lawsuit or engage in any kind of legal matter, approval is not guaranteed. Plenty of people have hired me and have ended up denied for one reason or another. And it's also true that people have have had cases that have taken longer than expected. So I think it's important to know that there are risks, just like with anything else. The risk of doing nothing is also present. So if you don't take action, you may end up being delayed over and over. Here, let's go with pick family. I'm an SIV applicant in processing pending for 5 months. I know 6 months, I must get another recommendation letter. Is that work faster, please? Not sure what your question is, sir, but I hope you're doing well, and I want to thank you for your service. If you were a translator or you assisted the U.S. in any way, that's why you would get the SIV visa. Let's see. What other questions do people have? Please let me know. Let me know what questions you have about interviews or anything else. I'm here to help. I'm here to help and to inspire. So, as I was saying, let's go back to the topic of interviews. What are some more tips for interviews? I think that it's very important to understand that one of the mistakes that people make in interviews is that they get too chit-chatty. They talk too much. They start engaging in a conversation with the officer. It is somehow socially awkward for some people, especially when they're nervous, for there to be dead silence. And a lot of times the immigration officer is entering information in a computer. The officer might be bored or distracted or thinking about what they want to have for lunch. And there could be some awkward silence in your immigration interview. This is not a bad thing. You have to be okay with there being an awkward silence. The officer may be just doing their job. And I think that you should avoid monologuing during those silent periods where you're just saying, oh, I'm sorry I'm late. Start talking about random things. Just answer the question. That's all you're there to do. Just answer the questions. What is your date of birth? What is your address? What is your social security number? What country are you from? Where were you born, etc. Just answer those specific questions. Don't provide extraneous information. And don't guess is another thing. If you're not sure about your answer, then indicate that you're not sure. So look, I'm not quite sure about that. I don't recall. I don't remember. I'm not sure. Those are acceptable answers. But what's not an acceptable answer is that if you're not sure and you think it sounds bad to say that you're not sure, so you make something up. Another mistake that people make in their interviews, this came up recently in a consultation. Someone had an expunged criminal case. If you have a criminal case, you can go to court in the US and many state courts, and you can ask that the records be destroyed or sealed or expunged or in some way scrubbed clean. Now, I'm not an employment lawyer, but I believe my sense is that if you've expunged a criminal case, then you can truthfully say on an employment application that you have no criminal record. And before you follow that advice, you should run this past employment lawyer in your area or a criminal defense attorney. But for immigration purposes, expungement, sealing a record, has no benefits, and you must disclose that. When they say, have you ever had any criminal matter, you have to disclose expunged cases. We had a case recently where someone expunged a criminal case and then they failed to disclose it, and unfortunately that might be considered fraud. So be careful when it comes to expungements. Um, I had a question on Facebook here. It said, my parents' case are IR5 cases in administrative processing after their respective interviews in Montreal, Canada. They're Canadian. We don't know how long the process will take. Can they still travel to the US while this is ongoing? And the answer is yes, with a caveat. So if you have a pending immigrant visa case, you can come in as a visitor to the United States so long as the purpose of your trip and your entry as a visitor is purely to visit the US. You have to persuade the officer at the border, if asked, that you intend to go back to your home country after the conclusion of your case. So I think that your stay in the US should be short duration, and you should have clear proof that you have ties to your home country, that you have a house, a car, a job, family, assets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So make sure that you can prove that you're going to go back to your home country. And if you can do so, then you can come in as a visitor. I don't think you should come in for a long period of time in that situation. And I don't think you should frequently travel to the US in that situation, because you don't want to create a scenario where it appears as if you're acting like someone who's using your visitor status to live in the United States. That's something you don't want to do. Looks like we have a question from Falak. Thank you for your question, my friend. We will get to you in a second. As soon as you have a question, let me know what other questions you have. And I hope everybody is having an amazing day wherever you are. Let me know in the comments below where you're watching from. I'd be very interested to hear. All right. All right. Falak, while we're waiting for your question, I am going to share a link. If anyone wants to come on live and have a free consultation with me today, now, I will post a link here. You can click on that and join me. So let me know if that works for you. But let's take a question. How much time does the embassy take to issue a visa after submission of Form DS 5535? Well, that's a great question. And one of the most challenging things about administrative processing, first of all, administrative processing is a delay that happens after the conclusion of your visa interview. So you've been waiting, you've gone through the immigration application process, you arrive at your immigration interview, and instead of getting approved or denied, you're told that your case is waiting in administrative processing. This is also known as 221G or refused, which is super confusing. After that, they often give you Form DS 5535. Form DS 5535 is something from the Trump administration. It is a form of extreme vetting where they ask you personal questions if you're from majority Muslim countries and other countries. And once you do that, the question that our friend Falak has here is, how long is it going to take to get the visa? How long does administrative processing take? Well, one of the challenges with administrative processing is that we do not know how long this will take. We don't know. We don't know. It could take weeks. It could take months. It could take years. We routinely see people who've been waiting for 3, 4, 5 years or more for their visas to be decided. And at that point, we take action and we file a writ of mandamus lawsuit. And we do that to challenge the processing delays. So one of the hardest parts about that, Falak, is that it is not clear how long it's going to take. He was refused and put in. How long have you been waiting, Falak? Maybe you could indicate that. So you don't know how long administrative processing is going to take. And your choices the way that you get out of administrative processing is either you wait it out or you file a writ of mandamus lawsuit, a lawsuit to challenge the delay. And we have a user coming on right now, Abu Bakar. Welcome, my friend. You are live.
Good evening.
We can't see you yet, but we would love to see you.
Okay, good evening. Our immigration lawyer, not my Canada.
Let's see. While we're waiting for him, I'm going to take another question here. Um, okay. Well, he's gone now. But let's see. We have we have all right. We have here. I'll take this question. Mehmood Shah. Hi, I'm planning to visit the U.S. in the near future. I have only a B1, B2 visa. I visited the U.S. in 2014. Could you please advise me if I can start a business for home electricity maintenance? As a B1, B2 visitor, you cannot start a business. You would need a different visa. I recommend the E2 visa. You should explore that, and we could help you with it. All right. We have Jackson. How's it going?
I'm good, and you, sir?
I'm fine, thanks. Welcome. Where are you coming to us from?
I am in Massachusetts now.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Well, I want to thank you for coming on, and I'd love to hear what you need help with and to see if I could help you out.
Yeah. I have I have applied for removal condition, but I have an interview coming soon. But my wife said she's not going to the interview with me, so I don't know what to do.
Okay. So you filed for a, pardon me.
I-71 removal condition.
So let me give you a little background, and I'll try to help you out. Okay. So
Okay.
you applied you got a green card through marriage, and your green card was
Yes.
good for 2 years. Before the
Yes.
expiration of your green card, together with your wife, you filed a form called an I-751. This is an application
Yes.
to remove the conditions on residency. You're trying to
Yes.
convert your 2-year green card to a 10-year permanent green card. And the way you do that is by including information to show that you and your wife are together and that your marriage relationship is ongoing. The problem that you raised is that you have an interview and your wife won't go with you. So
No, he said
my,
no.
my question is, why won't she go with you?
I don't because she used to give me problems before, because like even if we were in the relationship, she used to go out, and for spending like 3 months, 4 months out. And when she came, like whenever I talked to her on the phone, I told her when is she coming back. She said like if I do something or go to the police to report that, she's gonna call immigration for me. She always threaten me. Okay, I always stay on my silent. I say okay, like do whatever you want, and she always say okay, I'm gonna do whatever I want. But
Can I
now
ask
I don't know.
you, do you
Yeah.
live with her?
Yes, but for now she went out with since May 15 for her birthday. She never come back, but we always talk on the phone
So
whenever I
she's not living with you since May 15th, right?
yeah, whenever I talk to her, when is she coming back? She said that's her business. She can get back whenever she wants to.
Do you have children with her?
No.
How long did you date before you were married?
Hello.
How long did you date before you were married?
Around 8 months,
Okay.
I guess.
So let me give you some advice on this, and hope this will help you out. So first of all, when you go to your if you don't, if she's not with you at the interview, they won't conduct the interview. Okay. So what I
Hello.
advise you to do is to send a certified letter to USCIS and tell them that, explain to them that you and your wife are having trouble and that she's not willing to come to the interview with you. And then I think you need to consult
Okay.
with an immigration office, lawyer. We can
Like yeah, I have already contacted your staff. I have to talk to them on Wednesday.
okay, we're going to help you out. But basically, what I want to tell you is
Okay.
that, um, you should consider getting a divorce and apply
Okay.
for um, a green card through a waiver process. And in
Okay.
order to get the waiver approved, you have to show, first of all, that your marriage relationship was genuine. You lived with her, you shared your life with her. This was a real marriage. And secondly,
Yeah, I have everything.
you have to show that your marriage ended in divorce. So you're going to need to file for a divorce and get a divorce. Now, I don't know your personal
Okay.
situation. Maybe you and your wife don't want to get a divorce. Maybe you're going to reunite. Um,
Yeah, I guess I want to divorce because this is the best thing I can do.
okay. Well, listen, I want to thank you for coming on, and we're looking forward to consulting with you and exploring this more. Don't worry, we got help coming for you. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Take care, brother. Okay. Thank you so much for coming on, Jackson. We have Sarah. Hey, we recently filed a lawsuit with the help of your team to get an interview. Now, my concern is it possible for me to have another delay for administrative processing? Well, first of all, Sarah, I want to thank you for being a client, and I'm really happy that the lawsuit resulted in you getting an interview. This is amazing. But let me see if I can answer your question. Um, your question is, would you get administrative processing again? And the answer is yes, but it's possible, but it's not something you have to worry about. Let me explain. Administrative processing is any delay that happens after the interview. If you did a lawsuit to get an interview, then if there is a delay after the interview, the lawsuit will continue to work to resolve any possible future delays. So you don't have to be in a situation where you go to the interview and then you have to wait 2 years to get a decision. We've already got the lawsuit going. The lawsuit was not to get you an interview. That's great that you got an interview. The lawsuit is to get your visa, a decision on your visa application, and hopefully approval. So we filed one lawsuit to get you the interview, but we keep the lawsuit open until your visa is hopefully issued. Sometimes people think that they're going to need to do one lawsuit to get an interview, and then they're going to have to do another lawsuit if they get stuck after the interview. One lawsuit is more than enough. So don't worry about that. And hopefully we'll have some good news to celebrate with you soon. All right, let's go to Facebook user. I'm in a third country on a work visa with my US wife, and I was interviewed for my CR1 visa. Okay, this is great. They gave me 221G, and we've been waiting over a month. Should I email the embassy and bring up the upcoming deadline of August 11th on our work visa as a hardship issue? Well, I'm sorry to hear that your visa is stuck in 221G or administrative processing. Your question is, should you email them? And the answer is, yeah, sure, you can email them. I don't think that an email is going to get your visa delay resolved. My firm and I file writ of mandamus lawsuits to challenge processing delays for people whose visas are stuck. And we don't file lawsuits because we love doing it. We file it because it's necessary and effective. And if I could get delayed visas resolved by sending an email, then I wouldn't file a lawsuit. I would just email them. And in fact, that was what everyone would do. People file lawsuits to resolve these sorts of delays because nothing else works. So hopefully you won't need a lawsuit, and hopefully this will come through quickly. But if it doesn't, then we're here for you.